Dave Meltzer's leaked memo, reportedly from Warner Bros. Discovery, valuing AEW at over $288 million per year, reportedly is nothing more than a spreadsheet estimate of AEW's value that's been passed around Discords and wrestling message boards and chat websites. We'll let you know all of the details on this wild story. CM Punk hits back at those who suggested he was going to have backstage issues in WWE after his run in AEW. Punk has also spoken about the possibility of running NXT alongside Shawn Michaels, as well as a future WWE Dream Match with Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin. Eddie Kingston addresses Bryan Danielson on AEW Collision. Chris Jericho will face off against Dynamite Kid Tommy Billington on AEW Dynamite. Satnam Singh wins AAA Gold alongside former WWE Champion Jinder Mahal. Nick Nemeth loses the AAA Mega Championship, and Matt Riddle wins the AAA Cruiserweight title. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and we have to begin with this wild story with Dave Meltzer and his leaked memo from Warner Bros. Discovery valuing AEW at over $280 million per year, because reportedly that leaked memo is not all that it seems. And we brought you the story earlier on today that Dave Meltzer had posted to the Wrestling Observer F4W message board the following, saying that AEW was in a healthy position when it came to negotiations with WBD because they were valued so highly by their broadcast partner. Now you can actually see the post in question right here from Dave Meltzer. It says the following, quote, "I saw an internal memo from WBD on the total value of AEW programming. It was $288,265,720 per year based on ad revenue and 2% of TNT carriage rates, 2.5% of TBS carriage rates, and 3% of True TV carriage rates, and also included purchasing of the pay-per-view franchise. However, it was a pay-per-view model indicated as similar to UFC, still $50 per show. It did list a Ring of Honor show as part of the value, a reality show, and Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision and pay-per-views, so it's a lock. Ring of Honor has been talked about, and pay-per-view has been talked about. Also, TBS is estimated to make $91 million this year in ad revenue for Dynamite. This is all based on a rating estimate from Ring of Honor and quarter two ratings for the existing shows and 137,500 average pay-per-view buys in 2024. So that was what Dave Meltzer posted. Certainly people were talking about, but it looks like, as I mentioned, that is not all that it actually seems, because this has started to float around social media and the numbers actually line up very closely to what Dave Meltzer is suggesting. Now, what you're actually looking at is, and what seemingly Dave Meltzer is referencing, is this spreadsheet from someone who claims he works in advertising adjacent field, and he made this up in terms of an estimate from him, what he felt working in the industry that he works in, that AEW would worth. Now, this has been passed around several Discord channels and several message boards. As I mentioned, apparently it's been in the Fightful Discord. It's also been on several messages boards and wrestling chat websites over the last several months. And certainly the numbers, if you look at the potential AEW value to WBD, it's pretty much the same number that Dave Meltzer was putting out there, around that $288 million mark per year to WBD in terms of AEW's potential value. So naturally, people have started to look at this and say, is this the leaked memo that you were talking about, Dave? Because seemingly it's not a leaked memo, it's just an estimate. This is quite, I guess, well put by Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics.
Programming being $265,720 per year. He goes into a lot of other details in this message board post that are exactly similar to a really interesting estimate that a listener did and shared with me, and I understand has shared it elsewhere. And I think somehow, just to correct, I think what's happening here, I think Dave has understood this estimate that a listener, that somebody did and did a good job of. I think he's understanding this estimate to be an internal memo somehow. The of all these details matching so exactly is pretty astronomical. And I have pointed this out to Dave as well.
So as he mentions right there, this is not a leaked internal memo. This looks like just someone that's posted it around. You can see it being right here on message boards, and it's something that has been going around for quite some time. And for whatever reason, Dave Meltzer has misunderstood this as an internal memo from Warner Brothers Discovery when it clearly is not. Now, it's kind of now changed a little bit when it comes to Meltzer's reaction to this. As one member on F4W points out, you can see right here, he has said, well, Dave went back and edited the post with all that info to, I'm taking this down for now, so take that as you will. Now, Dave Meltzer put out another post on the message board saying AEW success or lack thereof will be known when this deal gets done. I've said 1,000,000 times that I don't assume anything, but either Tony Khan or his detractors will end up with egg on their face. And as that previous commenter had put out there, when it comes to this original post, which he put out there detailing these numbers from this leaked memo, this internal memo that is not an internal memo, he has now edited this to say, I'm taking this down for now. Seemingly to avoid controversy, or perhaps because he has been told by the likes of Brandon Thurston that is not an internal memo, that is just an estimate that's been put around. So what are your thoughts? What are reaction to this? What are your thoughts when it comes to Dave Meltzer's reporting on this? Should he be better with how he's sourcing his information? Does this concern you when it comes to other things that have been said and reported by him in the future? It was only earlier this year when he said that there was a backstage segment involving Triple H and The Rock. That didn't happen. In fact, it was close to being over a decade old. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, CM Punk, he's been quite vocal this weekend because he's been at the Fanatics signing for WWE. Now, CM Punk has also, part of these interviews, commented on the belief that there would be more backstage issues with him in WWE as there were reportedly with him in AEW. Of course, Punk made his return to WWE at Survivor Series last year when he made a surprise appearance at the end of the event in Chicago. Punk's WWE return was coming after he was released from AEW in September of 2023, following a backstage altercation at AEW All In involving himself and Jack Perry, which came a year after the infamous backstage altercation at AEW All Out in 2022, involving himself and the AEW EVPs, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Now, speaking at Fanatics Fest, CM Punk was asked about the belief there would be more backstage issues with him in WWE, like there were in AEW prior to his departure. CM Punk didn't really mess his words when it came to this one.
Much new talent that I've watched you over the years.
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Sorry, buddy. So I guess the question I'm trying to say is, since you've been gone, the stopover at AEW, let's just say, didn't end the way I guess a lot of people expected it to end. And when you came here, I feel like a lot of people expected those same things to carry you over here.
Oh yeah, but that's all bullshit. None of that stuff is reality. He's a cancer. And listen, not everybody gets nice me, but I treat you accordingly. If you're a piece of shit and you act that way to me, I will treat you that way. If you're nice, you're smiling, you want to have a good time, let's have a good time. I'm all hugs. But no, and it's not like I'm two different people. There's just certain people, the ones that spread those lies, the ones that say those things about me is because they can't control me, they can't control the things I do and I say, and they absolutely hate that, so they try to control the way other people feel or see me. And it's bullshit. You're going to have to make your own judgment, you're going to have to draw your own conclusion.
Now, Punk was also asked about the possibility of him getting involved with NXT more regularly. Of course, he has been already behind the scenes a couple of times since returning to WWE, with CM Punk being in attendance at a number of NXT shows since his return to the company, as well as him training with NXT talent ahead of his return to the ring. Many have speculated about Punk potentially being set up to run WWE's developmental system one day. Speaking at Fanatics Fest in New York City, Punk was asked by Big E if he had an interest in running NXT in the event that Shawn Michaels stepped aside from the role. Now, Punk said he would be interested, but stressed he'd be more interested in working alongside Shawn Michaels than rather filling his shoes.
I think one of the things that I've enjoyed seeing is your connection with the younger talent. And you've gone down to NXT, and I've seen some scuttlebutt online, and I'm not trying to push Shawn out, but if Shawn were ever to say, I'm done running NXT, is that something that when your career, in-ring career is over, is that something you'd have an interest in?
I mean, baby steps. I would love to work underneath Sean at some point, because it's not like I want Sean to go away and just here take over. I would want to learn from him and see how he operates and how he does things. NXT is sort of left alone. Triple H lets Sean, he trusts Sean, so things from NXT to the main roster are wildly different. And I think it's good to know both systems, and I can learn from everybody.
Yep.
See, what a fantastic answer instead of E just saying, shove someone out of there and take his spot.
I said I wasn't.
Classic E.
I said I wasn't shoving him out.
You know what I mean?
Someone asked, do you think Roxanne Perez is the future?
Oh.
Roxanne Perez is the present.
Yeah.
But as far as the future, future looks good for her too. It's the same thing with Braun Breaker. Uber talented, head on her shoulders, sky's the limit. I want to see what she can do on the main roster. But also, I know there's some heavy hitters coming to NXT. Stephanie Vacour, I think Julia is coming. So if they're going to NXT, I want to see them mix it up with Roxanne Perez. I think that's going to be some dynamite stuff.
I like it.
Now, Punk also spoke about the possibility of this long-anticipated and theorized dream match between himself and WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, CM Punk has addressed the idea of facing Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 41. Of course, Austin made his return to the ring at WrestleMania 38. Wrestling his first match in almost 20 years against Kevin Owens in the main event of the Saturday show. Austin recently admitted there had been talks of another appearance at the show of shows this year in Philadelphia, a reason that he couldn't make the journey out to Philly for this year's show due to himself and his wife being busy. However, he hopes to be at next year's event to emanate from Las Vegas, Nevada. Of course, he does live in Nevada. Now, speaking on the Ring of Wrestling show during Fanatics Fest, Punk was asked about the prospect of facing Austin in Vegas. Here's what he had to say.
Interviewed Stone Cold Steve Austin last week. Said they tried to get him in Philly, but he lives in Nevada. WrestleMania is in Vegas this year. Who's the phone call you got to make, Punk? We want that match.
That would be up to Steven. It's not up to me. Because I think he had a pretty good return, came back, main event of WrestleMania. At this point, his six shooters might be buried in the Nevada desert. But if he wants to dig them up, I'm your Huckleberry. It should have happened, 10 plus years ago. But if he wants to go to sleep, he can call me.
Now, when it comes to this, of course, CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, it might not be actually totally far-fetched. Shortly after Punk made a surprise return to WWE at Survivor Series last year, reports emerged that WWE was indeed hopeful of making Austin versus Punk at WrestleMania this year. It was later said that there was no formal approach to the Texas Rattlesnake with the match in mind, and Paul Levesque confirmed during WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain documentary that the plan heading into the Royal Rumble was for Punk to challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, that was until Punk sustained that torn triceps in the Men's Rumble match, sidelining him until his return to the ring at SummerSlam. So, of course, we're getting more details on the possibility of that match happening. We'll let you know in a future video. Now, Eddie Kingston, he was back on AEW Collision for the first time since undergoing surgery, nowhere near cleared to being returned to the ring anytime soon, but Kingston returned to AEW television on the August 17th episode of AEW Collision, addressing Bryan Danielson. Kingston, who's still sporting a brace on his right leg, told fans that he wouldn't be back for AEW All In or anytime soon, but he had some things to say about Danielson. Kingston said the current version of Danielson is disrespectful to the sport and is going to get beat at AEW All In. Kingston believed Danielson lacked fire and asked him to step up at All In when he puts his career on the line against Swerve Strickland. Of course, Kingston is currently sidelined with a leg injury. He underwent surgery in July and could be sidelined for up to 10 months following the operation. Now, Chris Jericho, he's going to be in action on AEW Dynamite this week. Chris Jericho plans to give Tommy Billington a lesson in professional wrestling straight out of the dungeon. Chris Jericho announced on the August 17th AEW Collision he would wrestle Tommy Billington, the modern Dynamite Kid, on the August 21st episode of AEW Dynamite. Jericho stated that he knew the original Dynamite Kid, Billington's uncle, and proclaimed himself as a graduate of the original Hart family dungeon. Jericho, calling himself the modern Stu Hart, promised to teach Billington a lesson in Cardiff. Jericho is using this as a warm-up for his eventual match with Hook for the FTW Championship at AEW All In on August 25th. Now, let's talk about AAA here, because an AEW star now holds AAA gold. Now, Raj Desi, the former Jinder Mahal, and Satnam Singh have won the AAA World Tag Team Championships at Triplemania, defeating Negro Casas and Psycho Clown and Dr. Wagner Jr. and Galano Del Mal in a triple threat match to win the titles. The finish saw Jeff Jarrett hit Casas with a guitar, leading to Desi getting the pinfall. This marks the first reign as AAA Tag Team Champions for Desi and Singh. The previous champions had held the titles for 68 days. They only made one successful title defense. Now, this was certainly a strange occurrence last night, because Nick Nemeth is no longer the AAA Mega Champion, but he was accompanied by John Bradshaw Layfield. Now, on August 17th, 2024, AAA hosted Night 3 of the 32nd edition of their annual event from Mexico, that being Triple Mania. One of the top matches in the event was Nick Nemeth defending his AAA Mega Championship against Alberto El Patron, but he was not alone in the ceremony. Nemeth was accompanied by WWE Hall of Famer John Bradshaw Layfield, who sat in the crowd for the title match. After a vicious grudge match, the finish came when Patron finally caught Nemeth with a low blow as payback for their match from Triplemania 32 Monterrey, before locking in a single leg hook for the victory. After the match, Latin Lover congratulated Alberto on the title victory, but Alberto did not buy the congrats from the AAA head of talent relations. This was a trap, as Alberto El Patron attacked Latin Lover from behind before revealing that he was the eye that had been terrorizing AAA backstage in previous shows. Head of Creative Conan confronted Alberto about this, but this was all a ruse, as Conan hit a low blow on Latin Lover before hitting him with a trash can lid, aligning himself with Alberto. So that is the latest developments when it comes to the AAA Mega Championship picture. And finally, Matt Riddle win title gold in AAA as well. In a fierce highlight reel of a match involving three wrestlers, Matt Riddle won the Cruiserweight Championship against defeating former champion Laredo Kid. As I mentioned, it was a triple threat match as well, as involving Commander, of course known from his time in AEW too. With this victory, Riddle wins his first title in AAA. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.